So we have another article from CBR.com. Now, CBR.com has been putting out articles faster than lightning can strike. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of articles that they're coming out with, especially regarding Velma. But I'm going to follow everything they say because I love seeing the identity crisis that CBR seems to have. Some of their writers, or I should say most of their writers, seem to be on the side of, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. We love the diversity. We love the equity. We love the inclusion. We love Velma. She's a slay queen. And then you have a couple people here and there that talk about odds and ends stuff. You know what I mean? Like they probably seem more down to earth kind of a thing, even though they're few and far between. But the funny thing is, this article from CBR is talking about something that gets mentioned often, and that has to do with hate watching and how it benefits the show, right? So hate watching is a thing, and I know it's a thing. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like it's not a thing. But the thing about hate watching for me is that certain episodes and certain TV shows that are quote unquote hate watched, like Velma, they're hate watched for a reason, right? So they're hate watched because it has such hardcore ideologies in it, such hardcore pandering, such hardcore wokeness, whatever word you want to use. It has it in there to the point where I guess the showrunners know that people are going to talk about it, and they want to get all that good old negative press because no press is bad press for them, right? And at the end of the day, they don't care about reviews. They only care about how many clicks they get, especially for the first 2 episodes of a TV series, because then they could go back to their investors and say, hey, look, we did this, give us more money, that kind of a thing. But when it comes to Velma or shows like Velma, like Rings of Power, for example, the reason why I do these reviews is not to garner more views for HBO Max, okay? I don't even have an HBO Max. I had to borrow somebody else's HBO Max in order to be able to do a review on this. Like that's how little I care about HBO Max. But the thing is, I do reviews on these TV shows because it helps us garner an audience of like-minded individuals. I say this all the time, so I'm saying it early in the video for people who like to click off early. I like to do these reviews because, one, it's great for the channel. It helps us garner an audience. It helps us grow an audience. And it helps us reach people that think like us, speak like us, have similar views. They may not agree with everything I say, but they have similar views. They're looking for an outlet to talk, to have an open dialogue, to have an open conversation about certain TV shows, whether they like them or they don't. They're looking for places to have that conversation. And I like being that place to have that conversation. So I do these reviews because for every one view that I give HBO Max, I save 10,000 other plus views, actually sometimes even 20, 30, 40,000 depending on the video. I save views that HBO Max would have otherwise gotten from people who are watching it through me or through their other favorite YouTubers and not giving HBO Max a view. But of course, that's not going to stop HBO Max from spinning some numbers and CBR.com from reporting on those numbers. Now, apparently, Velma's popularity spiked by 127%. Despite overwhelmingly negative reviews, Mindy Kaling's adult animated series Velma becomes one of the week's most in-demand new shows despite receiving largely negative reviews. Now, I need to verify these numbers, okay, because I'm just reading the headline right now, and Rings of Power tried to do the same exact thing. If you guys remember, Rings of Power tried to come out and say they were the most viewed show ever. By far. I mean, it had 20 million views. It was great. They didn't specify how many households actually viewed it. They didn't specify anything other than they put the biggest number that they could that would make them look the best, and that's what they ran with. I'm almost guaranteeing this is very similar here. Because you could say interest spiked 127%, but how much of that interest was the first and second episode? How much of a drop-off did you experience after those episodes? Did you experience any at all? This is all very important stuff, and it goes to show hate watching is usually a thing for the first episode, maybe the second episode at best, but then after that, they tend to leave it alone and run away and go to YouTubers to watch instead. So the article says, despite receiving an overwhelming amount of negative reviews from critics and viewers, Mindy Kaling's adult animated series Velma still managed to become one of the week's most popular shows. In Parrot Analytics' latest data series report from The Wrap, it has been revealed that Scooby-Doo series has secured the second spot on the week's ranking for the most in-demand new shows, placing a bit higher than HBO's The Last of Us. Following its debut last January 12th, the series unexpectedly attracted a lot of attention in the US as the demand for the show increased up to 127%. Velma's viewership performance this week is 37.3 times higher than an average series. Shortly after its debut, Velma was met with criticisms regarding the show's meta storytelling and its decision to veer away from the original source material. Some viewers felt it failed to capture the essence of what makes Scooby-Doo series good. It has also officially shattered Dragon Ball Evolution's previous IMDb record by becoming the project with the worst audience score rating of 1.3 at the time of writing. Regardless of its low critic and audience scores, Velma 2-episode premiere had a new viewership record for HBO Max as it became the streamer's most watched animated series debut to date. Now, this particular thing I have a problem with. So when they said that, oh, it's the most watched animated series debut to date, you guys got to remember, HBO Max canceled damn near every other animated show that they were going to make. And as of right now, it's one of the only ones that are out that they debuted. So, of course, it's going to be with the top one that they debuted because it's one of the only ones out. And this is what I mean by political speak when it comes to these showrunners and these studios. They do this stuff. They speak like politicians. They say things that know are going to put them in the best light, even though it absolutely means nothing. Like, that's the funny thing. So it says the future of Velma. Whether the fans hate Velma or not, the adult animated series is clearly doing wonders for HBO Max. Although nothing has officially been announced yet regarding Velma's renewal, it has been previously revealed that Warner Bros. Discovery has already started developing the second season. However, it remains unclear if HBO Max would still push through the next installment of Velma, especially when the streamer has been canceling a number of its own original shows, with Titans and Doom Patrol its latest casualties. Now, that's what I was saying. Like, they are canceling left and right so many animated shows. So for you to come out and say, oh, this is the top animated show debut for HBO Max, what are you really saying? You're not really saying anything. Like, that's not an impressive statement. Anybody who can think for 2 seconds can realize that this is one of the only animated debuts you have. So of course it's going to be the top one, especially with all the negative press it has. Of course, there's nothing for it to compare to. So you're just speaking air at this point. It says, taking place before a Scooby-Doo gang was officially formed, Velma is a 10-episode horror comedy following Velma Dinkley as she embarks on ghostly and mystery adventures with some members of the team. The series features the voices of Kaling as a titular teen detective, Constance Wu as Daphne Blake, Glenn Howerton as Fred Jones, and Sam Richardson as Norbert Shaggy Rogers. They are joined by an all-star guest cast, including Wanda Sykes, Jane Lynch, Weird Al, Ming Na Wen, and Shay Mitchell and Melissa Fumero. So like I said, guys, this whole 127% number, this thing really doesn't mean much to me. What are you basing this off of? And is this 127% number? Is this just for the first and second episode? Because that's what they were saying before. If that is the case, there's 3, 4, 5, and 6. How much of a drop-off did you experience? Why don't you want to talk about that? That's the first thing that I would question. But you got to remember, these showrunners and these studios, like I said before, they just come out with an article usually towards the beginning of a series, and they try to say, oh, look, we have the biggest views ever. We're up XYZ percentage, but then they never talk about it again after the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episode. They don't talk about it anymore. Rings of Power definitely didn't want to talk about the drop-off they experienced, which was almost 70% from episode 1 to episode 2, and then the rest was downhill from there. They never want to talk about that because they know it's going to be bad. So this is them doing political speak. This is them trying to make themselves look the best that they possibly can in the public eye to convince everybody that they are a major success while everybody's hating it. Even the critics hate it. They're trying to convince everybody it's a major success. And I would almost guarantee, due to the real success of The Last of Us, now that show has real success behind it, due to the success of shows like that on HBO Max, that's going to make them the money that they're going to allow them to lose on something like Velma. They don't really care. They're going to do Velma. They're going to get the rage clicks. They're going to get people to go check out HBO Max, and whoever does will probably end up falling in love with the other shows like The Last of Us, and that'll make them subscribe, not necessarily Velma. So at the end of the day, this is just an ideology show. It's to help them push their message while not costing them too much money, and they'll make up their losses elsewhere. That's what they're going to do. But as of right now, they're just trying to make themselves look as good as humanly possible that they can in the public eye. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.